Well, somebody's been making some noise this year, and that is Cobra Golf. So we're going to talk about their new driver, the Dark Speed Adapt, but that's not even going to be the big news of what we're going through. So let's jump right into it. What's going on, everybody? Scott Hogan coming at you. We are here. We are at the Mistwood Performance Center. We're going to be talking about golf clubs again. We talk about this because we're about total performance. We want you to shoot better scores, and club fitting is a big part of that. So we're going to be going through the Cobra Dark Speed Adapt lineup here today. And Cobra's made a lot of noise this year because of two real reasons. One, they signed Max Homa. That's a big sign for them, moving him away from Titleist. So that is somebody that I think is going to help promote the brand. He obviously has a big following, and we'll see if he plays better. He says he's driving it a lot better, so that could be a really good thing for him. But the other thing that we're going to see from Cobra, and we're going to go through this in a little bit, is they have a new shaft adapter here, and this thing is crazy. So I will get more into this later, but first, let's break down all of the different head options that we have. All right, so the Cobra lineup is going to have a few different models that we're looking at. So kind of their core head or the base model is going to be the Dark Speed Adapt X. You're going to have the LS model. That is something that carries over from last year. You do have a Max D model, which is a Max Draw. And what is new for them this year is you have the Max K. This is their 10K model that they're coming through. They also do have a light model that is going to be more for your slower swing speeds. So that is also an available option as you go through these. So let's jump into what's going on with these, because I think it's very interesting as we're looking at this. So let's talk first about the X. This is that core model that they have. So the Dark Speed Adapt X. Cobra, I still think, is one of those companies that's still trying to get club speed. You know, they're trying to advertise, hey, we can build a driver that can go fast. So that's why you have the Dark Speed name as you go. Now, this driver is going to have a big time kind of refresh look to it from the old Dark Speeds. Again, we're going to talk more about the hosel here in a sec, because that's the real magic. But what you're looking at with this club is you're going to have two different head lofts. You have a 9-degree head and you have a 10.5-degree head. What's interesting about that is if you get the different lofts, there's actually a different weighting that they do. So on the 10.5-degree head, they actually take a weight and put it towards the back inside of the head. If you get the 9-degree head, they actually have this plate weight that goes up towards the face. There is a little bit of a difference between the different lofts, even though you're in the same family of heads. So I do find that interesting. The weights on the back of this guy, we're looking at pretty similar to what we've seen with other drivers. You have a weight that goes up here at the front. You have a weight that goes here in the back. So you can actually help influence ball flight. So if you want to put the heavier weight in the back, you can help the ball go up higher. If you want to put the heavier weight in the front, you can help it go lower, a little bit of lower spin. You actually pick up some speed, I think, when you do that as well, by having more weight closer to the face as you go through. But still having a matte black look to the driver, a really, really good look. I think it's just a clean looking driver. And I do like the shapes of their drivers, because they haven't gotten crazy with making these really long drivers. They still have some depth to their drivers as far as height. So I do like that as we're looking at these drivers. Now, as far as shaft options, with all of the drivers, you're looking at the Denali family of shafts. It's a great shaft, but they have the different color options: red, blue, white. And then when you get to the LS is the only one that we're going to see a little different with this Fujikura Pro shaft that you can get for that. But as far as looking at the X model, that's really what you're looking at. Again, just your basic driver, somebody that can help dial in some spin, help dial in that launch. We're not going to be influencing too much going left or right as we go through. When we look at the LS model, very similar again to other LS models that we've seen. We have 3 weights. We have a 10-gram weight, we have a 3-gram weight, and then we have a 3-gram weight in the back. So 2 weights up by the face. Same thing with the club face and the weight with the different lofts. So the 10.5-degree weight's more in the back. There's a weight on the 9-degree that they put in that is up closer to the face, which I do find very interesting. Now this one, again, you can change the settings, and they do actually write it on here. If you want to help try to put some sort of fade or a high bias to it, you can do that by moving the weights around. It's interesting, they do not put a draw bias, and we've talked about this in previous videos. LS models were typically not trying to see that ball fade or draw. We're trying to get that ball to fade more. You're more of a higher ball speed player. So interesting that they don't even put that as an option on here, although you could technically, I think, maneuver that if you put the heavy weight, put it in the heel. That should, I think, help make that, maybe draw, or at least keep it a little bit straighter than getting that ball to fade as you go. Loft options, again, just that 9 or 10.5 degree. And you can also get the, again, lie angles as we go through. I will talk more about that because there's so many customizable options that you can actually take this driver down to 7 degrees if you want to, or go way up if you want to as well. Now we'll talk about the Max D driver. So the Max D, again, just a little bit of this red finish to it. It's a good, clean looking driver. This is the first one where you're really going to notice that we are getting a little bit longer as we move this club, the center of gravity away from the face. Going to help with forgiveness, going to help promote getting this ball to draw. So we do have a weight that's in the back of the driver here. Then we only have one weight here on the heel. So this thing is meant to speed the toe up, get this ball drawing. So that is the biggest thing that you're going to see with this driver. And again, a really good option for you as you go. They do have what they call the hot face. So just having more of a forgiving and a better performance across the entire face, which that is something that I think you're going to start seeing with all drivers. And that's the biggest step forward that I think manufacturers can make with these newer drivers. Is we all know if we hit the ball in the middle of the face, they're all going to perform pretty well. But if we can make it a little bit more forgiving and perform better on miss hits, I think this is a great option. They've done a great job with this driver, and that's something they are promoting. Now, the new one in their lineup, the Max K. This is that 10K moment of inertia. We've seen this with other drivers. Cobra now has it in their lineup. What they've done, they just put a weight at the back, a 10-gram weight. Again, a little bit longer. When you have this carbon driver, it is a carbon driver. This material is going to help make this driver get a little bit deeper. And then what happens is you can put some weight. That is going to make this driver very resistant to twisting when you strike it, especially on off-center hits. So very forgiving. It's going to be a little bit heavier than the other drivers, but not by much. You can feel it as you're just holding the head, but that's something that you're going to want to look at and try and test out. Again, we are seeing a lot of players use this and trying to increase their spin, and they are trying to get that ball to go a little bit straighter, maybe keep the ball in the air as they are hitting them. Now, that is a look at the heads. Now, that is the quick run through because I don't think too much different as, again, I would call it more of a refresh from the old Dark Speed lineup. But what is really cool that they have come out with is Cobra has this new hosel that they're putting on their woods. Okay, and this is what they call the Future Fit 33. So this thing is nuts. To me, it looks like a beehive. You have the ability to have 33 different settings where I can start adjusting lies, lofts. I can do this independently and go through and get my club dialed in as best we can. So that's why we don't see as many head options from like other companies where they might have 3 or 4 head options in a family. We're only seeing 2 in most of them, but that's because you can adjust this thing so much and you're not affecting the lie. Typically when you're changing loft on other drivers, you're affecting lie angle to some degree. This is not what the case. So you have this model here. So it actually has it written right here on the shaft, like what you're doing. So if I was to set this at G3 here, I'm taking the loft down one, but the lie is going to stay the same. Okay. Again, really, really cool stuff. I can actually move this one little notch and I can actually adjust the lie. I've now gone upright 0.7 and I've gone down in loft minus 0.7, actually minus 1.7 as we go through. So there's a lot of ways that you can actually fit this. And as a fitter, what we've talked to our fitters is it almost would be a little bit overwhelming, but they've actually come up with a really cool chart here that is helpful. So you look at this chart and based on the shots you are hitting. So if I'm hitting the ball high right, then I want to just come up to this section of the chart. And then I'm going to look at these settings, these specific settings. Or if I'm hitting it too low and to the left, I want to go ahead and look at these settings. I can start adjusting as we're going through to try and make this ball go. Okay, so that's where I'm going to go is I'm trying to make some adjustments. Let's take this, what's the ball doing and where do I want to move it? And then I can go ahead and adjust as we go through this. So I think really, really cool stuff and definitely worth trying out and seeing how much you can get dialed in if you are trying to make this driver the best that it can be. Now, who is these drivers for? I think it could be for anybody that's looking for a really, really good driver. The other thing that's nice about these Cobra drivers is the price point. They are coming in at $549.99. So they are a little bit lower than your higher end drivers. So you are getting a premium driver. I played Cobra drivers for years. I absolutely loved the dark speed last year, and this driver is really no different. So it is an absolutely fantastic option to try, especially if you were looking for something that's just a little bit on that lower end, but also you're going to be kind of future proof. That's what's kind of nice, is if things change, you have so many options that you can start messing with, that you can take this driver and change it as you're going through. So you don't feel like you're locked in to one driver as you're going through and you get fit and you make that purchase. So really, really cool. Would love to hear your thoughts about the Dark Speed Adapt. Have you had a chance to hit it? What are your thoughts about the new Future Fit 33? Leave those comments down below. And we're going to have more coming up. We have the Ping G440. We have the Callaway Elite. So make sure you click that subscribe button if you're not a subscriber already. And we'll see you in the next one. All right. Peace.